Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Bridget and I'm going to answer some questions about light language today, okay? So these are just questions that I have made up for myself. I'm going to do like a Q&A style video with questions that I've just sort of thought of from all the years that I've done light language now. I've had a lot of people ask questions and they're usually the same kind of questions. And I really want this video to be informative, whether you are have been around light language for years and years, or you channel it yourself. I hope there's still something in here for you. Or if you're completely new to light language and you're wondering what even is light language, what on earth is going on here, then I hope that still this video will be informative for you as well. So if there is enough interest, I'm happy to do a follow-up Q&A with audience questions. If you do have questions for me about light language, about channeling, whatever it might be, then please leave it in the comment section and I will do a follow-up Q&A video if there is enough interest. I don't know how this video is going to go, if anyone's going to care or not, but I feel guided from Spirit. Spirit wants me to make this video to just reach out to people, especially those who have questions about light language, because I know it's a very unique thing. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with light language, okay? What is light language? What is it? Bridget, what is this? Okay? Okay. So light language is a unique form of energy healing, okay? Just like you can get Reiki healing, light language is like that. It's an energy healing. It's a form of energy healing, but it uses sound, right? It uses sound and it's channeled through the voice, through the eyes. I actually notice light language comes a lot through my eyes when I do it publicly, like for collective kind of healing. And it comes through hands, movement, dance. So it doesn't have to come through sound. It can come through art as well, like channeled codes. But sort of most commonly, I suppose, it's known as a sound healing, a form of sound healing, okay? So what exactly is light language? I would just describe it as a form of energy healing. And every channeler will be different in the way that they channel. Some may prefer to do it through artwork, through codes. Some may prefer to do it through sound, through movement, whatever. So it's energy healing and it's unique, okay? Now, a lot of people find light language quite strange. It's sort of quite weird. It's very unique. But the one thing that I would say about light language is that it works, okay? This is what I always come back to because sometimes I even feel a bit strange about it. And I'm like, it is a very interesting kind of different thing to do, right? I've had a lot of judgment placed on me over the years. And, it's interesting because when I first started doing light language in 2019, I literally had zero self-judgment. I had no judgment. I was like, this is the most pure, most beautiful thing. And I found other channelers online and I thought, wow, this is such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful community. Then it was part of my destiny path to go online on YouTube and publish it and go out there and put it out there in the world. And it was only then that I started to get this huge kind of collective resistance, this energy from the collective where there was so much judgment. There was so much what is this? This is so weird. This is so creepy. It's so crazy. You're all these things, put all these labels on me. And it was only then that I started to think oh yeah, light language is pretty weird. Oh yeah, it's pretty strange. So I understand, but light language is really of the future. Okay. This is what I've sort of been shown. There will come a time in the future where light language is very normal. It's not seen as weird, crazy, different anymore. It really is something that is such a powerful tool because it actually works, okay? That's what I always come back to. It's it might be weird, yeah, but it works, okay? It just does. It works. And it works whether you feel like it's working or not. That's another question that I get is how do I know that it's working? Because some people feel it really strongly and they're like, whoa, I feel hugely different. I feel a huge shift. And other people, they might have it listen and they might be like, I don't know if I feel anything. Whether you feel it or whether you do not feel it, it's working, okay? It just does. It's working. It works at the deepest level of our being. It works as sort of a soul language where we're speaking to each other's souls. It works at the level of the subconscious mind that goes beyond conscious, rational, and logical thought. So if you try to understand light language, sometimes I get people asking me, can you translate it? Can you translate what this language means? Yes and no, okay? It's not like a normal language. You can translate English into French or you can translate Spanish into German. It's not like that, okay? It's not like there will be necessarily a direct translation because Spirit is speaking through the light language channel, Spirit is trying to bypass your conscious mind. Spirit is trying to bypass your logical mind that wants to have some kind of way of translating this. Spirit's trying to speak to something deeper, to your heart, to your soul, to like your energy itself. Okay, so there is no need to translate it. However, when you receive light language, or when I receive light language, when anyone receives light language, there is often usually a perception or an impression that you receive from it. Like, this light language really targets the third eye, or I really feel it in my heart, or I really feel it's bringing through unity consciousness codes, or I really feel that it's like if I'm working on someone's energy in particular, like if I'm doing an energy healing on somebody, then yeah, I might be like, oh, this is bringing up stuff around your mom. You know, Spirit's working with you about some trauma too with your mom, or some thing around being bullied or humiliated, or this is really opening your throat chakra so you can express yourself more. So in that way, there is like direction and guidance within the light language for sure, but it doesn't need to be directly translated. And for some reason, I know some of you might be like, why would you even ask that question or answer that question? Because I get that question a lot, okay? You would be surprised. I get that so much. And that is, I think, the conscious mind, the logical mind, trying to kind of like grasp at some level of like grounding, trying to be like, this is so over my head. I need to ground this with some level of logic and understanding in order to sort of receive it. However, light language is really more than that. It's really about going beyond the logical, going beyond that and stepping into the magical and the mystical and sort of the unseen, the unknowable, the mystery of life. I love light language because it works with the mystery. It works with the mystery. Now, like I said, when you channel light language or when you receive light language, you might feel an impression. You might be like, wow, I really feel this in my heart, or I really feel love coming through. I really feel divine compassion, or I really feel it's clearing my throat chakra, or it's working on fear, or it's working on my relationship with my mother or my father or my ancestor, or whatever it might be. That is all perfectly valid as well. So when I say like light language can't be translated, it doesn't mean that it can't be understood. Okay, it's just a little bit different. It's a little bit of a nuance. It's like, it's not going to be a direct language translation like from English to German, right? Where it's like, this means this. It's more feminine than that. It's more mysterious than that. It's more mystical than that. Okay. Okay. So where does it come from? Is it channeled? So yes, light language is channeled. I feel like it comes deep from the soul. All right. I've sat with this for a long time. I feel like it comes from the soul, and it comes from, like, as a soul, I believe that we have many incarnations. We are like multi-life beings that have had many incarnations on Earth and beyond Earth. We have a higher self that's connected to source, that's connected to all that is. So light language, when it's channeled, I think it's coming from that higher self. There are times when I've channeled light language where I felt like an alien, okay? There are times when I've channeled light language where I've literally felt like an alien, where I've been like, you know what, I feel like I am an alien on this earth. And I think that was because I was getting in touch with like different lifetimes that I've had that weren't of this earth, and I was sort of channeling energy from them. So I feel though, as I've sat with it, because there are people who channel light language who I don't personally resonate with. Like, I'm trying to word this in the most delicate way that I can. I used to think that everyone who channeled light language must be a divine, loving being, an empath of love and light. But I've come to realize through a lot of harsh lessons that that is not really the case. People can have access to light language for different reasons. I don't understand it fully yet. I don't really need to really speak about it much, but I'm just saying, be discerning about where you receive your light language from. Always listen to your gut, your first instinct about someone or the light language that you receive, because it will usually be right. Okay. So yeah, it's channeled. Okay. Where is it channeled from? Sometimes I feel like a Mother Mary presence, right? And it's like bringing through this divine love energy. Sometimes I feel it's coming from my own soul, my own past lives. You know, sometimes I feel like it's direct source light coming through me like boom, boom, boom. So I don't know. If anyone else channels light language and wants to weigh in the comments, where does your light language come from? What have you come to learn from it? Where do you feel like it comes from? Because that's a question that I get a lot, and I don't even know if I can fully answer that one. It's kind of an interesting question. Okay, so how does it actually work? Again, it's a bit of a mystery, but it works. Does it work? Yes. Does it work? Yes, it works. Okay, that's the number one thing you need to know. Does it work? Yes, it works. I can say that with 100% certainty at this point in my life. Yes, it does work. So any kind of reaction that you get from light language, you might laugh. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it does sound funny. That's okay. You don't have to, like, you're allowed to laugh at light language. That's okay. Sometimes it genuinely sounds funny. Sometimes I even start cracking up while I'm channeling light language, okay? because it is funny. Sometimes you might feel teary, you might feel sad. Sometimes you might feel hot or cold in the body. Sometimes you might feel tightness or opening, like an opening energy. Sometimes you might feel sneezing, yawning, giggling. All of this is a positive reaction to light language because it means the energy is moving things through you. Some people fall asleep when they receive light language. That's a great thing. It means that you're receiving it at the deepest level possible. So how does it work? It bypasses the conscious mind. It goes directly to the subconscious. It speaks directly to your soul from source. It's like a direct communication. The other thing that I would say is that light language, when it's done through sound, it's like a sound healing, okay? So have you ever seen those, I'm going to try and like include a link or a actual snippet of the video if I'm allowed to for copyright reasons. There is like a sound, you can see like sound plates where they have like sand on like a metal plate and then they play frequency and vibration through that plate and it will create these different symbols. It will create like a mandala effect of the sand and different frequencies coming through that sound, different kinds of music create different like looking mandalas. Okay, so this is sort of how I've kind of come to think about light language, is that when the sound is coming in, it's kind of like changing your cells, right? Just like the sound, like when it impacts the sound, it creates like mandalas. That's what it's sort of doing inside the body. It's like the sound comes in and it shifts the cellular structure. It shifts it and it changes it and it moves energy around. And it clears things at a level that you don't need to understand. Like you don't need to know why you feel better after you listen to light language. You don't need to know. Light language invites you to go more into the mystery and the depth of the mystery of life, you know? It also makes me think of like Dr. Emoto's work with water. I know many of you are familiar with this, but Dr. Emoto, scientist, he worked with understanding like the way that the structure of water gets impacted by things like intention, sound, and like words. So if you say to water, "I love you," the structure of that water will respond in a certain way that looks very beautiful if you look at it like under a microscope or something. Versus if you say, "I hate you," it will look also very different and it will become very chaotic and kind of like dysregulated almost. So again, light language has this impact. We are like 70 something percent water, maybe more. I don't know. We're a lot of water in our body. We're hydrated beings. So when we have sound come in, it impacts those water molecules. It impacts us and it changes our molecular structure. It changes us at a cellular level. So when or if you have light language open in yourself, if you have light language open in your own channel, you will often remember your past lives. Okay. So there's something about light language that opens you up to like a universal kind of frequency where you will realize things about yourself, about your divine path, about your divine destiny that you may have previously had closed off for you. So I had my awakening in 2019 in terms of my full gifts turning online. Well, I don't think my full gifts are even online yet, but in terms of my gifts so far being online, right? To the point where I was able to use them to be of service to humanity in some way. Light language and channeling abilities. So when that happened, I also had all of this like downloads about past lives that I've had. And all of this understanding about like who I really am as a soul and what my destiny is and what I'm here to do and things like this. Whereas before that happened in 2019, before my awakening in 2019, I genuinely felt like all of those were like locked doors inside my psyche and I couldn't see through them. I couldn't really understand much of like what I was at. Like I felt a bit lost, I guess, in life. I didn't really understand like who I was, what I was here to do. And because I've been able to channel like past lives for myself, I've also been able to channel past lives for other people. So that's a gift that I now have, is like I'll be shown past lives when spirit wants me to tell people what they are. Okay, so can I just listen or do I need to do something while it plays? I think it's best if you just listen, okay? I personally, if I receive light language, sometimes I like to lie down, close my eyes, go inwards and really take it in. But other times I'll just like have it on playing in the background because I use all my tapes myself, by the way, like just so you know, I use all of them. Sometimes I'll just have it on in the background while I'm like getting ready. I'll play my space clearing tape before I do a reading for someone. Or, you know, if I feel like someone's come into the house, like a plumber or something, I'll play the space clearing tape afterwards to clear the energy. And I don't necessarily like sit down and listen to it like that. You know, like I'll listen to my tapes and kind of just have them playing on in the background like many, many times a day. But there are also times where I feel magnetized to the light language. And I'm like, I need to sit down. I need to receive this. So for example, recently I listened to my Open to Love heart chakra tape, and I listened to it 4 times in a row, and I could not get enough of it. It was like medicine for my soul. It was like healing me. And I just like, it would play and I would like stop it and I would replay it. And I just like lay there and I listened to it over and over again. And it was like massaging my body. Like that's what it felt like. It was like a massage for my body. So yeah, there are times where I intentionally sit down and I'll listen to it, and that's the only thing that I'll be doing. But honestly, there are many, many times throughout the day where I'll have it on, but I'll be doing other things. I might be getting ready. I might be cleaning. I might be, I might just forget about it and go into another room because I know that it's still working the energy field. I know it's still impacting me. So there are many ways that you can use it however you prefer. Always listen to your intuition. Like, you can really trust. You can trust in your intuition, whatever your intuition is sort of guiding you to do. Trust that, okay? So do I need to understand it for it to work? Definitely not, okay? Definitely not. Everyone has different ways of receiving light language, and however you receive it is perfect, okay? You don't have to understand it. If you do understand it, or you get impressions, or some people, if you already have light language activated for you, I've noticed if I listen to other people's light language, I'll end up channeling it myself, like as I'm listening. So any reaction you have is fine. Like, it really is just all good. It's all good. You don't need to understand it for it to work. You don't even need to feel like it has worked for it to work, okay? A lot of people in modern time have a lot of challenge with like the feminine and the mysteries of life, okay? We have become quite used to needing everything to have a formula, a scientific equation, a results, data, this kind of thing. Light language works beyond that, okay? So it's not going to give you that kind of framework. Sure, some people might be able to like, I don't know, have all these impressions and be like, I know that the light language like came in through my crown and then it moved around in my left heart space and then it moved down. It's like, that's fine. If you have that impression, that's fine. That's how light language wants to work with you. But if you feel like, I don't understand it, just goes over my head, I just don't get it, that doesn't mean it's not working, okay? It might mean that you need to work a little bit more with the feminine and with the mystery and kind of enjoying that. Like, why can't we enjoy the mystery? Why do we have to understand things all the time? We can enjoy that mystery. We can enjoy the not knowing. Okay, so what if I feel emotional when I listen? Okay, if you feel emotional when you listen, then that is perfect, okay? It's perfect to have any reaction to light language. Sometimes you'll feel emotional. Sometimes you'll feel like it frees up all this energy and you have this surge of life force energy. Sometimes you might feel sad. Sometimes you might feel happy. Sometimes you might feel joy. Sometimes you might feel closer to spirit. Sometimes you might feel really uncomfortable. Sometimes when I've had light language come through for myself, or when I've done healing sessions for group work, sometimes it's uncomfortable, you guys. Sometimes it feels like almost excruciating to stay with it because it is clearing dense trauma and it's painful to stay with that process. If you've ever done any kind of like trauma release work or exercise, even therapy of some kind, that's not easy, okay? Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it hurts a bit to let that stuff out of us, but it's good. It's clearing stuff. And I will always, always, always feel better after I do light language or after I listen to it. Even if I'm doing light language, like I used to do one-on-one sessions with people, right? Then I moved more into doing group work. But anyway, even if I was just doing one-on-one sessions with people, I would always feel better myself after doing it. And that's the thing about light language, is that it's a gift to everyone, right? Like, if you're a channeler, it's giving to you as much as you are giving out. It's a very special thing. You can tell I love it, right? Okay, so can anyone speak or channel light language? No. I think technically yes, but not necessarily. And that's because not everyone is meant to. So nothing's really gone wrong, right? Like, I'm trying to word this in the right kind of way. It's like, technically, yes, I think that everyone has the ability, because it's sort of like speaking from the soul, right? And a lot of children, I've had a lot of people comment on my channel over the years saying that their children channel light language, or they used to channel it as a child. Children are more open energetically, psychically. So it makes sense that they would feel more accessible. But not everyone is meant to have it happen for them in this life, okay? It's just not for everyone. If you would really like to channel light language, if you feel like it's part of your destiny, if you feel like it's a part of you, then that's true. There's truth there. That there is light language there that would like to come through you. And you might need to do some work, I would say, with the feminine energy of opening to that a little bit more, opening up that mind. But there's also just divine timing. Like, if you had told me before 2019 before 2019 that I would channel light language and I would do it online and I would, whatever. You know what I would have told you? I would have said, what is light language? What is that? I don't know what that is. I did not know what light language was until I started channeling it for myself. So it's like, yeah, you can have light language in you and not realize it, like I did for ages. And now I can channel it whenever I want. It's always there. I think that light language, what I've experienced myself since going public and what I've spoken to a lot of different channelers who are, light language channels or they are online in some way doing it. And I do get a lot of people saying that it can bring up immense shame for them because it is something that is really ahead of its times. It is something that a lot of people don't understand. They misjudge it. They think it's craziness, etc. So I have noticed that there can be a lot of kind of like you've got to move through internalized shame and like stigma and judgment and stuff like that, embarrassment, in order to be able to channel it. I know not everyone feels that way about it, but it is something that I've like noticed has been a theme in people that I've spoken to who have started channeling. Is like they had to kind of get through some dense layers first before they could really sort of like feel free with it. So it can bring up all kinds of stuff, but know when light language comes through, if it does, it's for divine timing. There's a divine reason for it. There's nothing to be afraid of. And it will ultimately be healing you at the same time as it's coming through you. Okay, so how often should I listen to it? Okay, so this is totally personal. Like I said, I listen to light language every day, multiple times a day. I listen to like 2 or 3 minimum tapes a day that off my shop because I love them and I love listening to it and it works. And I'll be like, oh, I need a throat chakra clearing, or I need to do my sacred space clearing, or I want to listen to my divine feminine affirmation tape, or, I'm in the mood for that trauma release light language, or I really want to listen to that heart healing one, whatever it might be. It's like, there's sort of always time and a place for light language. So, I'm an enthusiast. I'm like, go for it. Do it as many times as you want because it's only going to help you and it's only going to raise your frequency. It's only going to improve your life. So it's like, why not? Do it as much as you want. I know people who listen to it all day long because it helps them and it helps to keep them up and keep them connected to spirit. So it's like, do what you want. Yeah, there's no maximum or minimum amount you should listen. Okay. So final question I'm going to answer today because this video is quite long, but like I said, leave your questions in the comments. If I have enough questions, I'll do a follow-up Q&A. I'm happy to do that. Why does it feel so familiar even when I've never heard it before? Because it is familiar. It's sort of like a universal language that we can all understand. And that's what I love about it. It's coming right from your soul. It's coming right from source, from the angels, from your spirit guides, from spirit itself, from past over loved ones, from ancestors. It's really all one. And, I feel like when I started to channel light language, I also had mediumship gifts come online. I also had past life memories and the ability to read past lives in others. I had channeling abilities come online. It really does open us up to the universal. It really opens us up to all that is, to spirit. So that's why it feels so right, because it brings us back to that kind of universal love energy that we all share, that we are all one. I guess that's the best way I can say is like it feels familiar because it reminds you of unity consciousness, that we are all one, that we are all love. So yeah. All right, I think that is going to be the end of my little informational video. I hope that it has answered some of your questions. And like I said, if you want to follow up, if you want a part 2, then let me know in the comments and I will, help you out. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And if you would like to check out any of my tapes from my shop, I will link them all in the description box below. And I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for supporting my work. Much love.